Discipline is the way. Most people believe productivity is about doing more. The samurai knew it was about becoming ordered. Long before modern systems, long before distractions multiplied, warriors and monks lived by a simple understanding. A scattered life produces scattered results. A disciplined life produces calm power. They did not chase motivation. They did not wait for clarity. They built structure so precise that action became natural. This series is not designed to entertain you. It is designed to train you. Here, we study discipline as a way of life, through Bushido, Miyamoto Musashi, Zen monks, and the ancient Japanese understanding of mastery. No hacks, no noise, no urgency, only principles that endure. As you listen, slow down. Leave the outside world behind. You are entering the dojo where we show you that discipline is the way. Before a student was allowed to train, he first learned how to enter the dojo. He removed his shoes. He straightened his posture. He bowed, not to show respect to the room, but to leave disorder behind. The dojo was not a place to arrive casually. It was a space governed by form. This is where modern productivity fails. Welcome back to Productive Samurai. This is episode 1. Entering the dojo. Why discipline comes before productivity. People attempt to improve their output without ever changing how they enter their work. They carry distraction, noise, emotion, and chaos directly into the task, and then wonder why focus collapses. The samurai understood something simple and severe. How you enter determines how you perform. Productivity is not a technique. It is a consequence of discipline. And discipline always begins before action. The illusion of motivation. Modern culture teaches that motivation is the starting point. You are told, wait until you feel ready, work when inspired, rest when resistance appears. This philosophy creates fragile people. The samurai did not trust motivation because motivation is emotional, and emotion is unstable. A warrior who waits to feel ready never leaves his place. In Bushido, action was governed by duty, not desire. You did not ask, "Do I feel like training today?" You asked, "What is required?" This distinction is critical. Motivation is a visitor. Discipline is a resident. Productivity built on motivation collapses under pressure. Productivity built on discipline endures in silence. The meaning of discipline in the warrior tradition. In modern language, discipline sounds harsh, restrictive, punitive. In the Japanese tradition, discipline was understood differently. Discipline was alignment, your body aligned with form, your mind aligned with duty, your environment aligned with purpose. When alignment exists, effort decreases. The samurai did not discipline themselves to suffer. They discipline themselves to remove friction. A blade does not struggle to cut when it is sharp. Why productivity advice? Fails disciplined minds. Most productivity advice assumes chaos as normal. It offers tricks, hacks, shortcuts, endless optimization. The samurai path rejects this approach. A warrior does not optimize chaos. He removes it. If your life lacks structure, no technique will save you. If your environment is disordered, your mind cannot remain steady. If your days are unformed, your will is constantly drained. This is why discipline comes first. Not as effort, but as architecture. The dojo as a system. The dojo was not simply a room. It was a system designed to shape behavior without force. Everything had a place. Every movement had a form. Every action followed a sequence. Because of this, training began immediately. Focus arrived naturally. Resistance faded quickly. The student did not need to be motivated. The environment carried him forward. This is the model. Your work environment, schedule, and routines must function like a dojo. If they do not, you are relying on willpower, and willpower is unreliable, leaving the outside world behind. When a samurai entered the dojo, he did not bring the outside world with him. Personal drama stayed outside. Noise stayed outside. Distractions stayed outside. This separation was intentional. The mind cannot serve two masters. Modern people try to work while remaining psychologically entangled with everything else. Messages, news, notifications, unfinished conversations. This fragments attention before work even begins. The disciplined person creates thresholds, clear boundaries between work and rest, noise and silence, input and execution. Crossing a threshold signals the mind, now we train. Discipline as preparation, not control. Discipline is often misunderstood as force. But in the warrior tradition, discipline was preparation. You prepared the space, you prepared the tools, you prepared the sequence, so that when action arrived, nothing interfered. This is why discipline feels calm when done correctly. Chaos creates urgency. Order creates steadiness. A disciplined life does not feel rushed. It feels deliberate. The cost of entering unprepared. A samurai who entered battle unprepared endangered not only himself, but others. In modern life, entering work unprepared has quieter consequences: shallow focus, incomplete effort, lingering dissatisfaction. You may appear busy, but nothing reaches depth. This creates a subtle erosion of self-respect. The warrior path seeks to eliminate this erosion. The first act of discipline, stopping before adding anything, the samurai stopped. He observed. He simplified. He removed excess. This is where discipline truly begins. Not with effort, but with subtraction. Before productivity, there is stillness. Before movement, there is form. Closing of the first half. Standing at the threshold. At this point, you have not been given techniques. This is intentional. A master does not teach strikes to a student who cannot stand correctly. Before productivity comes order, structure, separation, preparation. You are still standing at the entrance of the dojo. In the second half of this episode, we will step inside. We will examine why order must come before action, how structure governs the undisciplined mind, and why productivity is not achieved, but permitted. For now, remain at the threshold. Discipline begins here, stepping inside the dojo. Crossing the threshold of the dojo is not symbolic. It is practical. The moment you enter, the world narrows. Noise fades, options disappear. Inside the dojo, nothing is accidental. The placement of the floor mats, the orientation of the weapons, the silence before instruction begins. This environment is not designed to comfort you. It is designed to remove uncertainty. The rules are few, but they are absolute. No one asks how you feel. No one asks what you want to do today. You are asked to stand correctly. This is the first lesson most people never learn. Before strength, there must be alignment. Before speed, there must be balance. Before effort, there must be form. Most people try to improve their lives the way beginners try to fight, by exerting more force. But force applied from the wrong position only creates fatigue. Productivity does not improve by trying harder. It improves when you place yourself correctly before action begins. Why order must come before action? In the warrior tradition, disorder was not an inconvenience. It was a threat. A misplaced weapon could cost a second. An unprepared stance could cost a duel. A cluttered mind could cost a life. Because of this, order was treated as a form of respect. Not respect for tradition, but respect for reality. Modern life has hidden these dangers, but not removed them. Disorder still extracts a cost. It simply charges in smaller increments. Every misplaced object creates a micro-decision. Every cluttered surface demands interpretation. Every open notification fractures attention. Every undefined task invites hesitation. Individually, these costs seem trivial. Collectively, they exhaust you. Order removes these taxes. When your environment is ordered, the mind stops asking unnecessary questions. When questions stop, energy consolidates. When energy consolidates, action becomes clean. This is why the dojo is cleaned before training begins, not after the work is done, before the work is even possible. The psychology of order calms the nervous system. This is not metaphor, it is biology. A predictable environment signals safety. Safety allows the brain to disengage from threat scanning. When threat scanning stops, attention deepens. A disordered environment keeps part of your mind on guard at all times. A guarded mind cannot commit fully to any task. The samurai did not debate this. They observed it. Order produced calm. Calm produced precision. Precision determined survival. Your workspace should not inspire you. Inspiration is unreliable. Your workspace should govern you. One purpose, one direction. No ambiguity about what happens next. Structure as an external spine. Once order is established, structure takes over. In the warrior's life, structure was not a restriction. It was an external spine. It held the body upright when muscles failed. It carried the will forward when resolve weakened. It prevented collapse under pressure. Structure exists so that mood becomes irrelevant, motivation becomes unnecessary, action becomes automatic. This is why the samurai repeated the same forms every day, not because they lacked creativity, but because repetition removed negotiation. A person without structure must debate every action. Should I start now? Is this the right time? Do I feel ready? A person with structure does not ask. He proceeds. Negotiation drains strength. Proceeding conserves it. Structure does not make life smaller. It makes action inevitable, and inevitability is power. Why willpower is a poor weapon. Modern culture treats willpower as a virtue, almost a moral achievement. If you succeed, it is assumed you were strong. If you fail, it is assumed you lacked resolve. The warrior tradition viewed this belief as naive and dangerous. Willpower fluctuates. It weakens with lack of sleep, with emotional strain, with uncertainty, with overload. Under pressure, it does not rise to meet the moment. It collapses. The samurai understood this long before neuroscience gave it language. They did not build their lives around inner force. They built their lives around external reliability. A warrior did not depend on courage alone. He depended on preparation that functioned even when courage failed. He depended on routine that held shape when emotion dissolved. He depended on clear sequences that eliminated hesitation when the mind was under stress. This distinction matters profoundly for productivity and leadership. A system that only works when you feel motivated is not a system. It is a gamble. A leader who relies on personal drive alone eventually burns out or becomes erratic. A professional who waits for clarity or inspiration before acting slowly trains inconsistency. True discipline is not about feeling strong. It is about designing your actions so strength is optional. Fixed time as authority. In the dojo, training began at a fixed hour, not approximately, not when everyone felt ready. At the bell. The bell did not negotiate. It did not care about mood, weather, confidence, or fatigue. It simply marked the transition from one state to another. This was not rigidity for its own sake. It was psychological economy. When a task has no fixed start time, the mind begins bargaining. It searches for a better moment, a more favorable condition, a clearer feeling. Resistance grows in the gap between intention and action, but when the start time is fixed, resistance has no space to expand. You are no longer deciding whether to work, you are responding to a signal. This principle applies directly to modern productivity and leadership. Meetings that drift, goals without deadlines, work days without defined transitions, all quietly erode authority. Fixed times create inevitability. Inevitability reduces friction. Friction reduction conserves energy. Leaders who establish clear temporal structure do not need to apply pressure constantly. The structure does the work for them. Individuals who anchor their most important tasks to fixed times find that discipline becomes quieter, less dramatic, and far more consistent. Readiness is not a requirement. Modern people chase readiness. They wait until they feel clear, prepared, confident, and aligned. The samurai trained regardless of readiness. Readiness was not a prerequisite. It was a consequence. They understood that the mind does not clear itself before action. It clears itself through action, provided the action is structured. You do not wait until focus arrives. You follow form, and focus emerges later. You do not wait until motivation appears. You enter the sequence, and motivation follows movement. This reverses the modern logic entirely. Action precedes feeling. Order precedes motivation. Structure precedes confidence. For leaders, this means acting decisively, even when conditions feel incomplete, relying on principles rather than emotional certainty. For individuals, it means beginning work before the inner resistance has been negotiated away. Discipline is not emotional readiness. Discipline is obedience to form. Productivity as permission, not force. The central insight is simple but rarely practiced. Productivity is not achieved by force. It is permitted by discipline. When space is ordered, time is structured, tasks are defined, distractions are excluded, and expectations are clear, work begins naturally. There is no dramatic surge of effort, no heroic push, no reliance on adrenaline. There is only steady movement forward. This is how warriors trained for years without burning out, not through intensity, but through alignment. Their lives were arranged so that the correct action was the easiest action. When alignment is correct, energy stops leaking. When energy stops leaking, progress becomes sustainable. In leadership, this manifests as environments where people know exactly what matters, when it matters, and how to proceed. In personal productivity, it manifests as days that unfold predictably, without constant self-coercion. Why most never enter the dojo? Most people remain standing at the threshold their entire lives. They read books, collect methods, optimize tools, and refine language. But they never change how they enter their work. They bring disorder with them. They bring emotion with them. They bring distraction, ambiguity, and unresolved decisions into every task. Then they wonder why nothing deep is produced and why effort feels so expensive. The dojo is not entered accidentally. It requires intention. It requires leaving certain habits outside. It requires respecting the transition from noise to focus. This is as true for leadership as it is for individual discipline. Teams mirror the order or disorder of those who lead them. Workspaces mirror the clarity or confusion of those who design them. The first assignment. In the warrior tradition, the first assignment was rarely explained. The student was expected to observe. Instruction came later, after behavior had already begun to change. If you have understood this, your task is already clear, not to do more, but to remove what does not belong, fix the structure of your day, and create a clear threshold between distraction and work. This is not preparation for productivity. This is productivity itself. Before you leave, notice your surroundings. Notice your posture. Notice your next action. Stand correctly. Return when you are ready to continue the training. Discipline is the way. This teaching is not meant to energize you. It is meant to steady you. Discipline does not rush. It settles. When the beginning is correct, the rest follows naturally. This is why masters care so deeply about form. A flawed beginning multiplies error. A correct beginning simplifies everything. Training does not end when the words stop. It ends when disorder returns.